On Second Shot, we tackle 2 new headlines every week to find out what kind of wisdom the world is dishing out today. And we want you to be a part of that. When you see a headline you want to take a second shot at, or if you're looking for advice, or just want to tell us what you think of the show, email us at secondshotcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, rate us on iTunes. This helps us move up in the ratings so more people will see us. And if you want to hear more, subscribe to the show so that the new episodes will get straight to you every single Friday. We love you. Thanks for listening and enjoy.
Heath Oaks is a millennial mogul whose ignorance on fire led him to fail his way to success. Jenny Anchondo is an Emmy Award-winning journalist whose sharp eye and biting wit have led to her storied career in television. Together, they tackle today's headlines in a way only an odd couple with a dash of perfect opposite can. So kick back, relax, and join the conversation. This is Second Shot with your hosts, Heath and Jenny.
Hello, everybody. Plot twist. Heath is not here today. I have taken over the studio, totally taking control. Good to see you, everybody. Who's watching online or on YouTube. Good to chat with you, everybody who's actually listening on the podcast. Welcome into Zach and Matt. Hello, guys.
Hey.
Hey, hello. How are you?
That was so vivacious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was like the Brighton. Yeah.
I'm excited to be here.
Now, we also have a new face here with us today, Miranda Kirk. Hello.
Hello.
Doing her first podcast ever.
First podcast ever.
I'm excited about this.
I'm excited too.
So let me tell you guys a little bit, and I've been like, oh gosh, so many of my girlfriends have been excited as I've been sort of teasing ahead to this episode, because this is a topic so many of them have recently gotten into. So let me tell about Miranda's background. She went through the Coaching Mastery Certificate Program, which is approved by the International Coaching Federation. She is a wife, a mom of 3, a former teacher who has essentially found this passion for helping people to find the best relationships possible. And so what she did was she went through the Coaching with the Enneagram Certificate Program, which is also, by the way, approved by the International Coaching Federation. So yes, today we are talking about the Enneagram.
Yeah.
So Zach and Matt, I'm curious if you guys had heard about this quiz, this test, this way of thinking prior to us bringing this up for the show.
I mean, I've certainly heard of different types of personality tests.
Yeah.
And I think I've heard this word before, but I guess I thought I associated it with something else. Because when I started looking at it, this was different than something I had seen prior.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I want to say I've heard of Enneagram, but hook me up to lie detector. I probably haven't. Yeah. Like, I want to be smart and be like, yeah, but like, no, I don't think so. But it sounds cool.
Okay, so Miranda, so what is the Enneagram?
Okay, so the Enneagram is a personality typing tool that has 9 types. It basically says that every person is one of these 9 types. So you start as this type, and you are this type for the duration of your life.
Okay, so no matter how much coaching you get or how much self-development you get, you're still at your core the one type that you're born with.
Like underneath, you're still driven by the same things.
Okay, so our goal with this show, and you guys know, is typically on Second Shot, we do the headlines, we take the second shot at them, we try to pull a life lesson, something motivational, something inspirational out of it. And so we wanted to do something a little bit different today, just with having Miranda on, so that we could talk about what this is, and hopefully sort of it can help your personal development journey. Because that really is a lot of like our listeners, we see it in the group, like we've got that private Facebook group, and so many of them are posting about, they're just trying to like up level their game, right? Mm-hmm. They're just trying to be their best.
Sure.
So I'm hoping that this is something, Heath and I both did like an online version of this quiz.
Right.
And we both came out as 2s.
2s, yeah. And it turns out neither one of you are 2s. So something to be said about that is the online tests are a great starting place, but they're only about 60% accurate. So the best way to find your type is to read and relate and discover along the way. And the benefit of that is you have to read about all 9 to get the best understanding of your type, which then in turn helps you to relate to other people because you have an understanding of all 9.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely when I was looking at it, I found myself being drawn to a couple of different ones. I'm sure that's probably normal.
Yep.
Like this one sounds a lot like me, but this one also sounds a little like me. And I've found value in the past of those other personality tests that kind of combine things and like, well, you're sort of this and you're sort of that.
Right.
So this one's interesting in that it's saying these are the 9 different personality types, and you are mostly going to be one of these 9 and not like a big mixture or something.
No,
like that. Is that correct?
you are only going to be
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
But then what's the wings? Is that like a rising sign in
So-
astrology?
Hold on,
Well,
wings. Yeah. Whoa,
yeah.
goodness.
So when you look at the when you look at the 9 types, so the two numbers that neighbor your type, you can pull from those strongly.
Oh.
And so, like for myself, I'm in type 8,
Okay.
and I pull strongly from a 9 wing. And you can kind of figure that out just based on, learning about yourself. And what's really cool is because the Enneagram's pretty deep. Like it goes way beyond just external behaviors. It goes more to like thoughts and feelings and drivers.
Okay.
And so what's really cool is you can figure that stuff out without having to come up with the words for it. Like you just read it and it zings you. You're like, that's me. And it's things you didn't even realize about yourself, but are so helpful to know. But it's not like you have to come up with it. Like, tell me about yourself. You'd never be able to
just
come
like
up with it.
I'm a 2. Nothing else needs to be said, or
Yeah.
whatever. Like whatever your number
Well, yeah,
is. Like
but I
on
mean,
dating profiles, like in 10 years.
Well, that's true. Yeah, when everybody's aware of it. Yeah.
We should explain to the poor folks at home who are wondering what 2s and 4s and 9s and what all that. Like what? Hold on. Let's give people like
Yeah,
a
can we
a
go
case
through
study.
the-
Yeah. What are they
Can we
exactly?
kind of go through the types?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there's 9.
9 types.
Yep. There's 9 types. So the 1 is called the perfectionist.
Okay.
It is, and this is just a very general, there's so much more to than what I'm saying, but so the 1 is a perfectionist. This is a right, wrong way of seeing the world. So the challenge for the 1 is to, learn to be good, that you can be good without being perfect, and that things don't have to be perfect to be good.
Right.
They nicknamed this one the teacher.
Yeah, so
right?
that's the challenge of the 1, and it's a complex system. There's different types within the types. It's a lot, but for the general basis,
Right.
The 1 is a perfectionist. The 2 is called the helper, and so the 2 loves to be in tune to other people's needs.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these types, if you're doing them in excess, so if you don't have a lot of self-awareness, then you're going to be doing these in overdrive. So that means it's going to be costing you something. So there are great things to be said about all these different types, but if you're doing them in excess, it's costing you something.
And anybody at home is one of these types. We're making that clear.
Like, yeah, everybody
falls
is
into
one.
one of
Everybody
these
is
9s.
one.
Yes.
So, for
the
example-
the helper is, so their challenge is realizing that they have needs of their own, and because they avoid their own needs by helping other people.
They overextend.
Yes.
Okay.
They overextend.
All right.
But then the strengths, it's like empathetic, supportive,
Oh, it's
motivating,
yes.
warm.
Right.
This is the one, by the way, you guys.
I love that you found the strength.
Heath and
Yeah.
well, because I thought I was a 2.
I know. Or you just went to the positive
Yeah,
side.
or just went to the positive because she's trying to identify me as maybe
We're
this
still
other
working
number
on
that we're
Jenny's
gonna
type.
get on with. You guys know my mom.
Okay,
You know, she's just busting up trying to call in when we're trying to podcast.
Get in on this show.
This is not a live call-in show.
Right, mom, stop. You had
Yeah.
your episodes.
Yeah.
Like, chill.
Come do it again sometime. It's
So
fun.
then, type 3. I'm looking through the app. It calls it the performer, but maybe there's another.
Yeah, the
name for it.
performer is a
Okay.
great word for the 3. Yeah. So they are the ones who are super, super driven to perform, meaning be productive, have success. And for them, the driver is identity, how they look to others, and they want to. So the challenge for the 3 is to figure out who they really are and be okay with that. And you can still be successful without being a chameleon and trying to fit into every situation of your life.
Comfort in your
Okay.
own skin.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
so
3.
this is the one. Well, Heath's not here, but I think he'd be okay with me saying we think that he is this. His development areas. Let's go ahead and call him out: competitive, abrupt, overly focused, and selectively honest. Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
But it's, I think what's interesting about this, and the reason why I'm so like wanting to suck up the knowledge, is because the point that you made about being able to relate better to people if you know what
Very
their type
much.
is.
Yeah, totally. You can understand where they're coming from. And instead of stopping short at a behavior you see, you can go beyond that and say, I understand why they feel the need to do this. How can I support them in this?
Right.
Right. Being able to understand the drive behind somebody else
Yes.
can help you
Because
garner
if we
a
stop short
relationship
at
that's so
behaviors,
important.
then we're not, it's going to be
What are
really
we
hard to
doing?
truly enjoy people because you stop short at their behavior.
So I was thinking I was the performer because I am very competitive in career type stuff, but not so much with home. stuff. So, and you know, I think some of the strengths are maybe me, and I think I can definitely be over focused, and at work I can be abrupt. Like people who know me in a super specific high intensity news work environment, I think it would be like, oh, she's an obvious 3. But I think my girlfriends would see none of that. So I don't know. We'll keep going down the list.
We still don't know. We still don't know.
So so type 4, the app calls it the unique one.
Yes. So 4s desire to be different and unique, and they are the type that experiences the most feelings. So a lot of types don't know how to access their feelings, but the 4 is very good at that. And so they access their feelings a lot, which is, you know, of course, the challenge for the 4 would be to not take on, you know, things at face value, but to find who you are and not, you know, if someone says you're this, you don't just believe it.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because it mentions development areas being self-conscious.
Yes.
So you might take what somebody says and really, really take it to heart.
Yeah, like a 4 would struggle with having a filter to separate things coming in from the world. They would just hear something and think, well, they think that about me, so that's me.
That's it.
Right.
Okay, so this could be me.
I'm thinking I might be wrong, but I fancied myself a 4. I was like, I think I might be a 4.
Guilt-ridden?
I work in podcasting and I'm wearing a pink shirt, so if that doesn't make me unique.
You are the unique one. The strengths of the 4, it says inspiring, creative, introspective, expressive, but development areas intense. Oh my gosh, maybe am I a 4? Coach Miranda says she doesn't ever really, like, she lets people kind of discover it themselves. Okay, so number 5, the expert.
Yes, so these are the information collectors. So they want knowledge. That's how they find their value, is through knowing things and you know, getting into conversations that way. So if a 5 isn't speaking up, that means they don't have enough knowledge collected on that topic yet. And so their challenges would be to connect with the world in front of them and not be in their head so much with, you know, knowing things and relying on information for value.
And they can tend to underemphasize relationships because of
disconnect.
That being so in their head. Yeah. Okay, are any of these jumping out to you yet, Matt?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was looking at the app that we had here, and I was initially, through my initial assessment, drawn to the type 2. Okay. But I also feel, I mean, like she said, I feel parts of, you know, the ones around it as well. So I think it's probably pretty close, but I think I probably need to spend a little bit more time looking into it and reading some. I find it hard because, you know, I think probably anybody does this when they look at it. They look at all the positives and say, yeah, that sounds exactly like me. You know, you only see, you're trying to self-select like what sounds like a really good.
Be?
Yeah, what do I want to be? So I need to spend a little bit more time, I think, reading deeper into it just to see for sure. But I think mostly, like right now, pretty drawn to the type 2, it sounds like.
Well, and isn't that true, Miranda? I think that it's almost like in order to find out your real type, you have to be super honest with yourself.
You do. And you can, and honestly, you can read all 9, and we all relate in some way to all 9.
Okay.
But when I say driving force, that means like when you're under a squeeze, when you're under pressure, when you're in a conflict, you know, what triggers you from deep down inside, and what are you really after based on what you're putting out there.
Okay, that's good. You guys, we have to be real with ourselves, otherwise it's not going to work. So let's talk about type number 6, the questioner.
Ooh.
Yes, so this is the most complex type of the Enneagram, and they are kind of worst case scenario types. And so
this is the one Heath said I was.
That sounds
worst
really
case
negative.
Scenario. So my son is a 6, and he, but yeah, they can think of the worst case scenario, but they don't consider themselves negative or glass half empty. They just consider themselves a realist. So these are the ones that are like in the control tower running things at the airport, because they're going to think of every possibility that can possibly happen, and they're going to have a solution for it.
Are these the people with like 20,000 MREs in their basement, like those meals ready to eat? Is that what those are called?
Emergency preppers.
They could be. Yeah.
Doomsday.
They could be.
Yes. Like they've got every last thing, or like you go on a one-night camping trip and they have the entire, you know, minivan full with stuff.
Every episode of Second Shot downloaded, ready for the apocalypse.
Yes. But the good things about the 6 is loyal, collaborative, persevering, anticipate problems.
Yeah, so they're called the loyalists. Yeah.
Okay, I like that. So, okay, the 7, the Energizer. What's the deal with the 7s?
So the 7s are, to me, in my opinion, they're the most easily identified of all of them, just from external, because they are all about stimulation. So the 7s are fun and they're excited, and like the main thing they do is reframing. So they can take any situation, and they're the ones that are going to say, but the positive side is, or if you really look at it, you could say that we could get something good out of this, or something good might come about this. And so they can find something positive for every situation.
So this is the one you were saying that I might be.
I've noticed that you can find it. You go to the positive way more than the negative.
So
Silver
we were
lining.
talking about, you guys, if you guys know me from way back in the day, you know that for 10 years I got up at 2 a.m. And so Miranda was like, so that must have been hard. And I'm like, oh yeah, but
I'd do it again. It's great. It was fine. Yeah.
yeah, and it was.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to figure out if that's an isolated situation where I loved my career, or if it's like, because let's be real, who likes getting up at 2 a.m? 0 people.
Right.
Besides maybe babies. But yeah, I don't know. Okay, I'm still investigating that. You guys stand by to find out if I'm a 7.
We'll figure it out.
Type 8.
Type 8. So I am a type 8. Type 8 is called the Challenger. And so the type 8 is the one that's in the room that carries a high energy. A lot of times they're told they're intimidating growing up. They are the ones that feel the need to be strong and protect. And they're big on justice and protection.
Okay.
And so the challenge for the 8 is to be weak and vulnerable, because we have needs just like everyone, but we don't want to be exposed as weak, because someone might need us down the line and we have to be seen as strong enough to be there for them.
Gosh. I have empathy for you living in that, with that psyche. Okay. So is this something that you, Miranda Kirk, were born as an 8, or did you develop that because of your life experiences?
Okay, so when you read about the Enneagram, you're going to see the childhood wound is what they call it. And this is something that you perceived in your childhood that triggered your number to go into effect. And so I would guess that you could argue nature versus nurture type thing, that, it develops based on something that happens. My personal belief is that you're born the way that you, with your number, and that no matter what comes through your filter as a child, whether it's trauma A, trauma B, trauma C, it's going to trigger the same thing in you, because it's who you are, the way that you're wired. So my thing is, you've got 3 kids who go through the same home, and they all come out with very different perspectives, and it affects them in very different ways. And it's because they see the world differently from birth.
Okay.
And so they're taking things in through their numbers filter, and it triggers different things in them based on their number. So for example, a 2 might experience, a neglectful parent and say that I'm unworthy of love. An 8 might experience a neglectful parent and say, I'm never going to do that to my kids, because I'm going to rise above it. I'm going to read every book. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to not be affected by this.
Okay.
And so they just see it differently.
It's like how, it's true. You can see kids from all the same household, and they turn out so differently.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Speaking of neglect, I don't want to neglect number 9s.
yeah.
The last one.
Yeah.
So what's sort of like cornerstone in the 9's life?
So the 9 is they would like to avoid conflict pretty much at all costs.
Okay.
So they are kind
Harmonizer.
of described as like the anger that went to sleep, kind of. They're carrying it like we all are, but they will avoid conflict at all costs. The 9s would like to do that.
Okay, so like diplomatic, easygoing.
Mm-hmm. So they will take on, they will kind of morph if they need to keep everything running smoothly.
Okay. You guys, I did not look at the time at all. I have no idea. I got so
I didn't start the clock.
I got so immersed, so engrossed, so
We should probably take a break.
obsessed
Okay.
with this. We will take a quick break, and then we're going to talk more about the specifics of Enneagram when we come back in the second segment of Second Shot.
He makes up words, she translates them. Heath and Jenny host more of Second Shot, coming up on RNCN.
You guys have been listening to Second Shot and hearing us talk about it. You need to go pick up my book, Ignorance on Fire, A Journey of Failing Your Way to Success. You can get it on Amazon in a paper book. You can also hear this beautiful voice of mine in audiobook style on Audible or anywhere you're going to get your audiobooks. Guys, this book took a lot of time to put into it, and I believe it can really be some life-changing stuff to help you on your path to success. And hopefully you're going to fail your way to success just like I did. Ignorance on Fire, A Journey of Failing Your Way to Success. Amazon.com, Audible.com, audiobooks, paper books, everything. Get it, share it with your people, and I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Go pick it up today.
Ready? Aim. Fire. Second Shot is back for another round on RNCN.
Okay, so that was like the quickest Enneagram summary we could have done. So I just want to make it clear to everybody that this is really deep. There are so many online quizzes, and I think what's good about an online quiz for something like this is it raises awareness about the possibility that you could even take a test like this. But then it goes a little deeper. There's the app that Miranda said was sort of, it's like not ideal. It's not the best way, but it's called Know Your Type, and it's a little bit better than
it has
the quizzes,
so
right?
much information though.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
And
great.
This is how Heath and I thought we found our types, and then thought we found our types, and then thought we found our types, and are still searching.
But it's common to not find your type quickly.
Okay. So if you don't find it quickly, does that mean that you're disconnected from who you are, or like what does that mean?
No, I mean, I think it's like anything. Like if you go to Disney World for the first time. Well, Disney World's huge, and you're like, where do I go first? What do I do? Everything looks fun, right? Well, once you've been and you got it, you get the big picture under your belt. Okay, same thing. You look at the Enneagram, there's 9 types, there's all this information, and it's like, yeah, all of it sounds really great. But once you kind of get your head around the options and you get the big picture, it's a lot easier than to identify one way. But it doesn't necessarily mean you have no self-awareness if you can't figure out your type.
Some of these online will have little like tests and quizzes to help you figure it out. But like you said, those aren't always the most accurate. So what is the most accurate? If somebody was like, I want to go all in on this, I got to know.
Yeah. So some of the online tests will give you like a range.
Yeah.
So it'll tell you like you answered the most answers were 2 related. The next were 3s. Then the next were 7s. That's a good place to start, but I would not do that and say, I'm a 2. It was the most answers. It's a good place to dig in, meaning there's resources online. The Enneagram Institute is a great website to go to that has so much information. It has everything from, all the types in detail to you can even enter 2 types and it'll tell you how those 2 types are in a relationship. Like the strengths and weaknesses, it's awesome. So that's a great resource to use.
So, and then you shared a couple of books with me that you said that if we get more interested in it, and I can bring those back so that I can tell the titles or whatever too.
Yeah, so I would say a good starter book, like just generalize all 9 types, would be The Road Back to You. And that's by Ian Morgan Cron and Suzanne Stabile, who both have great podcasts as well.
Awesome. Okay, good. We love to share like news about other podcasts too.
Yes,
so
they have great podcasts. Typology is one of them, and the Enneagram Journey is one, and they're phenomenal. So they interview people. So you can go on there and say like, oh, they're interviewing an 8. I'm going to listen to this and see if I pick up on anything that makes me think that this might be me.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Maybe that's how I'll figure it out. So why would somebody, what is the benefit in this? Why would somebody want to go on this personal journey of figuring out what their number is?
Okay, so I think there's a lot to be said about personality testing because we've all done it. We've all used it. Workplaces use it. And the way the Enneagram stands out above the rest, in my opinion, is that it follows up. It doesn't just say, well, this is what you're inclined to do, and this is what she's inclined to do, and you can figure out how to work better together that way. But it tells you the reason you're inclined to do it, and it will give you, if you have resources, it gives you literal exercises, things that you should be doing to soften the things that you tend to do in overdrive.
Okay.
And then once you know it, because you can know about the Enneagram and be like, oh, fun. But once the Enneagram really zings you, you'll know because you're into it. I mean, you want more of it. You see the value. Once you do that, then that's where you get into once you realize who you really are, you cannot unknow that. And so you take that into all of your interactions every day.
Is it hard for you to meet new people because you're analyzing them? or like Enneagram typing them?
Yeah, well, it is hard once you have an understanding. But even my husband's enjoyed this a lot, and he does not do, his wheelhouse is nothing like mine as far as self-development and things like that. But even he has started saying like, oh, I met someone today and I think they're a 2, but he's starting to pick up on it. But it's so helpful.
How can we use this as a tool as parents? Like if in trying to identify our children's types?
Okay, so this is the part where it can get tricky because you don't ever want to put a type on someone, but this is the value I see in having a coach or a communication specialist or someone help you if you're not if you haven't read all the books and really have a good understanding of it. Because if you mistype your child and you're parenting them on the wrong things, it's not doing them any good.
Okay.
Necessarily. But it can be such a positive tool for your marriage as well as parenting, and it can just bring the whole family into a better communication style and a better dynamic by understanding each other.
Don't you guys wish that like all the workplaces would do this?
Well, I was going to say, like you said earlier, some do things kind of like this, but those are very like effect based.
Right.
Here's the things you're prone to do. They don't explain why. They don't go into the cause, right? They don't explain like here's why you perceive the world the way you do. You're right.
Yes.
I do wish more places did this. That would be very insightful.
And when you know what your struggle is, you practice it more, you know? Like I know I'm not good at being vulnerable because I learned at an early age, like if I want things done, I've got to do it. Like it's on me. And so I have to soften that part of myself and realize how it hinders my relationships. And so I have to practice, you know, if I have a need, I can express that to a friend. It's okay to, you know, need support or need someone.
Has this changed your marriage?
Very much. Yeah.
How
Very much.
so? Explain that.
I would say, so my husband and I, he's a 3, I'm an 8. They're both in the competency triad, meaning like competent as heck. Like we get stuff done. But, I mean, he's disconnected from feelings because he is so productive and on it and does everything. Well, I'm disconnected from feelings because I am in charge and I got to be strong and I'm the mom and I run the show.
Okay.
And so if you don't really put an effort and an intentionality on your marriage and getting underneath that, you can really miss needs that aren't met that you don't realize that aren't met until one day, you know, it's going to catch up with you one day.
Okay.
Like someday you're going to hit a wall and be like, this is not working for me anymore. Like I feel depleted. I don't feel valued. I don't feel accepted. I don't feel loved.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, Heath and I need to figure out our types straight away. I think it's interesting on the app. It talks about the famous people. Excuse me. So like the famous ones, Jerry Seinfeld, Gandhi, and Hillary Clinton.
Yep.
So so listen to these as we're going through, and maybe our listeners will be like, "Oh yeah, I'm totally Gandhi."
Yeah.
Obviously one, or
Makes
you know,
sense.
whatever.
Yeah.
2s, Gloria Estefan, Sally Field. 3s, Tom Cruise, Oprah Winfrey, Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
4s, Johnny Depp, Princess Diana, and Anthony Hopkins.
I knew it. I was always Johnny Depp.
Totally.
Anthony Hopkins? Oh no.
Well, it's like, and it's funny because we have the outer, you know, perception of these people. We don't know them internally.
Yeah.
But it is kind of interesting to see, like, oh, okay.
It's true.
5s, Bill Gates, Laura Bush, and Prince Charles. Oh, I want to be a 5. Okay, so 6s, Richard Branson, George H.W. Bush, and Woody Allen. 7s, Howard Stern, Bill Clinton, and John F. Kennedy. 8s, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Donald Trump, and Rosie O'Donnell.
Ooh, that's embarrassing to be in that group.
And Miranda Kerr.
Yeah, that's an odd one.
It's
Miranda Kerr.
a tough type, I'm telling you.
Famous 9s, Walter Cronkite, Dalai Lama, and Dwight D. Eisenhower. So I just wanted to read those
All
off
right.
for
Those are fun,
fun
yeah.
because it's interesting to think about, like, oh, you know, maybe I'm Oprah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, you know, and we don't know what these people are like in their private lives, like I said. So what do you say, what's the first step somebody should take if they're interested in delving further into this, either for themselves or their spouse or their business? What should they do?
So, I mean, of course, my first step would be to find someone that is trained and that specializes in it. They can help you walk through it because it is a lot. It's a lot of information. It is complex. And but the best first step is to read.
Okay.
Read, try to figure out your type. But if you want to start applying it to your life and applying it to your relationships, it is best to have a coach that is trained in the Enneagram and certified so that they can, because to apply it and know how to use it and know how to see it in someone else and how that affects your type, like that takes that's pretty complex.
Like it's like doing the blood type diet, but not knowing your blood type.
Yeah,
You're
I mean,
like-
it's pretty complex.
You don't want to go down the wrong path.
Right. And I mean, the
Yeah.
Enneagram's so great because, whether you're talking about therapy or coaching, they're very different, but they're both wonderful. And it can take you, like, what you get done, what you get discovered in like 5 sessions, you can get to that in like session 1 with the Enneagram.
I'm all about efficiency.
Yes, it is. It does make things,
Right?
it like propels you faster because of knowing so much about someone.
As our podcast expert on Enneagrams here, where exactly do you land on people like WebMDing their own Enneagrams? Being like, I looked online and I think I'm a this. Like, I guess you're cool with it, right? Because ultimately they're learning and they're reading, and that's better than doing nothing at all.
Oh,
but
totally. And
yeah.
only you know your type. I mean, I can have a good idea, but I can't tell you, like, you're dead wrong. That's not your type.
Right.
Only you know when you read the words, only you know if that resonates with you deep down.
And like you said, there's ability to flex out a little bit. You have the ones next to your numbers that are kind of close. I thought
Yeah.
it was cool that we were talking about 8s that are close to 7, and 7s are
Yeah.
inherently negative, or 8s are inherently positive, but both look at all situations. That's like the linking thing. So like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the good news is, I mean, you figure this out and then you use your awareness to soften the things about and use your knowledge of all the types to take on what you like, what you admire from other types.
Well, and yeah, I guess if I understand this correctly, like you are, once you find your type, or once you figure out your type, that is your personality from beginning to end. Is that what I'm like? You can't say
Yeah.
I'm a type 2, but I really wish I was a type 5, so I'm going to work on trying to become
Right.
this person. Like, you're always going to have this stuff in the background that you're either having to suppress or
Yes.
work against in some way. Where, I mean, are you more successful by just understanding those things and saying, okay, I understand that I'm this type, that's not going to change, so what I'm going to do is just try to decrease my negatives and focus on the things that I am good at? Is that
Exactly.
more efficient?
Oh, that's exactly right. And psychology says, I mean, you can rewire your brain. One example is, so as an 8, 8s view anger as energy to get off. So usually like a hot temper, like, explode mad and then be like, I'm done. And when they're done, like, it's really over. There's no residual, nothing carried forward. Like, it's just, oh, sorry, But you get to a place where you realize this isn't working for me. I'm in my 8 in overdrive. How am I going to soften my anger? Just because it's my number does not make it okay. You cannot say, like, well, I'm an 8, so just deal with it. That's
Right.
who I am. It's
Okay.
like, no. The point is you can replace that negative behavior with a positive one. But
Okay.
you can only do that through being familiar with it and being familiar with the uprise of that anger. So when I feel it coming up, I'm like, okay, there it is. I'm going to move it to the side and I'm going to replace it with a desired behavior. But it takes a lot of practice and it takes a lot of work.
Oh, Miranda, you are so awesome. I'm loving this discussion. I could go on and on with this, but we will be back for the 3rd segment of Second Shot.
Now that's what I call ignorance on fire. More of Heath and Jenny still to come.
To all of my friends in the great state of Texas, if you have not taken advantage, I have a way to save you a ton of money. I have saved over about $3,000 in the last year, and I have no hassle. Go to EnergyOgre.com, put in the promo code SECONDSHOT. Now listen, promo code SECONDSHOT, and you're going to get a free month just for signing up and saving a ton of money. So don't be crazy. Stop sitting around talking about, is this the real deal, and go do it right now. EnergyOgre.com, promo code SECONDSHOT, and a free month. Thanks. Go get it now. Run.
Kick off your boots or suit up. The choice is yours. Welcome back to Second Shot on RNCN.
Okay, it wouldn't be second shot, as Zach just mentioned, without actually doing a headline.
Yes.
So we had to, pull a news headline. It's actually one that Miranda sent to us. So we thought it would be perfect to kind of chat through this one. So Zach, take it away.
Yes, from Inc.com. Two things. One, Mark Zuckerberg has a sister named Randy Zuckerberg. So if you didn't know that, now you know. And
go.
two, Randy Zuckerberg is an entrepreneur like Mark. And one of the things she tweeted recently was the entrepreneur's dilemma. She said, maintaining friendships, building a great company, spending time with family, staying fit, and getting sleep. Pick three. I love pick threes. So I'll roll through them real quick again, just so we all have them.
Yeah.
All right. 1, maintaining friendships. 2, building a company. 3, spending time with your family. 4, staying fit. And 5, getting sleep. Friendships, company, family, fitness, sleep. Pick 3. I love it.
Oh, I hate it.
I love it.
I hate it,
so
Zach. I
hard.
hate it.
It's
I
not
hate it.
enough
I hate it.
time.
It's because you are not a mother.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
because
it's true.
you're not. I'm just kidding.
I believe you.
I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. We all have our things going on in our lives. So what do you pick, Miranda? If you what do you think are your 3, and what do you think you wish were your 3 if they're different?
Okay. Well, I can say I've had a major, shift in life recently with starting my own coaching practice, and so for 11 years, I was a stay-at-home mom, and so I was family, family, fitness, and sleep. That's what I was. It was easy. I didn't miss a workout. I loved it. It was no problem. Well, now at this phase of life, I'm work, family, because family is a given for me, and then so family, work, and I mean sleep, because me personally, cannot function on 4 hours of sleep like you, Jenny.
I don't know if I was thriving. I was just functioning.
Yeah. And so at this point in my life, fitness has fallen off big time. And so, I need a way to figure out how to shift things around to make it a priority again.
It's hard. Well, and it's hard to think about. I like this because it does make us think about, we think, oh, well, I wish I was doing this. But if you really wished it that much, you would just do it.
Yeah. Right?
Like you would. But then it's like, okay, but this career, as you're launching this business and you spent all this time getting these certifications and working with clients and stuff, it has to be your priority because that's what you're building.
And it's what I love.
Yeah.
It's what I want to be doing. But I mean, I will say it's overlapped with my stay-at-home mom role. That is ending because my littlest one starts kindergarten in August. And so that was kind of my plan, is to finish all this and be rolling by the time she goes to school, to have something, and it's overlapped by about, 9 months. So so I know it's only a matter of time. Margin's going to open up soon. And so I just have
You're
to
going to have that chunk of time.
Yeah. So
Zach, what are your 3?
Well, you make a good point. Where you're at in life makes a difference. Like what stage of life you're at. And I am not currently a parent, so it's difficult for me to lean on spending time with family. My one other real family is Christine, of course, my fiance, and she is also she's also like my best friend. So I'd love to push her into maintaining friendships, but that's family. So I should say mine right now, my priorities are probably maintaining friendships, building a great company, and spending time with family, relationships, and work, which is not great. But when it comes to fitness, I'm like, I don't get sick. I never have to go to the doctor.
Zach, because
I'm one
you
of the
are
youth.
20
it's
years
right.
old.
27 years old, yeah. And I'm great. And then getting sleep, I actually do a lot and lean on. But for the purposes of this, I'll just say those first 3. It's fine. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Yes.
What about you, Matt?
I think I would probably fall into the friends, family, which by family I also consider that to be alone time, like just like time at my house, like not
Family,
around.
as in everyone get out.
Family, as in me. I'm like I am my own family. And
Love you.
and
so
then
much.
and then
funny.
sleep probably because I tend to just need it. So yeah, it's probably friends, family, and sleep is where I'm at
sleep,
right now.
because again, I don't want to be hanging out with all
Right.
of you.
Right, yeah,
After
like
I've
if I could-
podcasted all day.
If I
Call
can just
that-
get away from everybody and go to sleep for a while, I'll be good.
Call that sleep family time too. Just roll it all
Roll
in.
it all
it
into
happens
one.
at home.
Yeah.
It happens
Sure.
at home.
Oh, that's
happens in
so
the home.
funny. Gosh, this one's hard. I'd been knowing we were going to discuss this and trying to think about what am I really doing? Like what am I really prioritizing? And I would say family. Definitely. My current schedule allows for a lot of time with family, which I love and I didn't have as much of before, so that's nice. And then I would say work, business, like building this podcast, working on HotWorks, which I've talked about before with you guys, working on other like hosting, MC type projects and video projects, things like that. That's a priority to me. So like at first I was thinking friends, because I do for a mom. I think I spend a decent amount of time with my girlfriends. But if I get an email and it's like a girls' luncheon versus can you host this video project for us, like I'm picking the work. I love my girlfriends and I think it's important, but I'm definitely picking the work. I mean, you know, you gotta work, right? And then sleep. For the first time in my life, sleep is on my top 3. So crazy. Yeah, like I've been sleeping, knock on wood, for 7 hours a night.
Really?
Well, that's huge.
It's crazy. I know. Like I thought I was gonna feel better actually, but I feel like a little bit more well rested. But I thought I would be even more energetic. But anyway, I think those are my 3. And fitness is still, I do some sort of movement every day. Sometimes that's like walking Brighton around. Sometimes it's chasing her around. Sometimes it's a full-on workout. I do that every day. But I mean fitness in the way that before, like I was like logging meals.
No.
I was doing the most intense workouts and like really more regimented with that whole like fitness structure. So anyway, Jenny, nobody cares about your whole personal routine, but this is it.
I think people care immensely about your whole personal routine.
But so I would say that like it's not in my top 3 because I'm not planning out every single meal. And like when Heath says, "Do you want to order favor?" I'm like, "Heck yes,
Sure.
I do."
Yeah.
There you go.
Whereas like that would not have been a part of my repertoire a couple of years ago. So there's my top 3: family, work, and sleep.
It's funny. I was
We have
gonna
the same 3.
I was
Yeah, we do.
I was gonna call you out on the friendships thing because I remember a while back you and Heath talking about on the podcast how you guys had to decide between the house and Brighton and work and the podcast and everything. You're like, we got to do friends like one night a week.
We cut
just
our
gotta
friends
limit
out.
And that's what I mean. Like you're able to be like, listen, there is still important to me, but like these are my priorities. That's something you're able to do. I'm still figuring out.
You get forced into
the hat.
prioritizing
Yeah.
though when you have children.
Yeah.
I just because you're gonna miss stuff if you're out every night.
Right. Not force like. Yeah.
Well,
like,
no, I mean it in a
obliged.
positive.
Yeah, right.
I mean it in a
You
positive
want to,
way.
yeah.
Well, and I
of
think that
course.
article is not necessarily saying you can't have these other things.
Right.
Like you can only have ever 3 and you have no friends otherwise. But it's more like, when it comes down to a choice that you have to make, are you choosing to go out with your friends or are you choosing like some other priority? Or are you choosing to spend time with your family? Or are you choosing to, go hide in the bedroom and sleep or whatever like that? So which sounds like
Someone's
a really
an introvert.
destructive behavior. But so I think it's just worth noting that like it's not about not having any of that. It's just about saying when it really comes down to it, what is the thing I'm going to choose?
Wait, when Matt said that his family time was actually time with himself, did that give you a better clue about what type he might
my
be?
wheels were turning. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, okay, I'd love to hear what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple types that could be.
Narrow that
There we
down.
go.
I love it.
I think too with this thing is you can do all those things, but it's kind of that quality versus quantity thing. Like how well are you going to do them if you try to fit all 5 in, or whatever they are,
like
however many there are.
multitasking.
Yeah.
And that's what surprises me about this. I'm not an entrepreneur, so I don't really understand the entrepreneur's dilemma. But the way I see it, entrepreneurs are the kind of people who look at society, they look at capitalism, they say, no, I want to do it this way. I'm going to swim against the stream.
Yeah.
So it's weird to me to hear Randy Zuckerberg say all entrepreneurs land in this category. If anything, I'd say entrepreneurs are the people trying to pick 4. They're the ones trying to go one step beyond and say this isn't
Right.
enough for me. I want more. So it's weird that she's like just 3 are entrepreneurs. What does that make the rest of us? I don't know. But
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. I
yeah.
think it works for everybody. I just wrote a blog post a couple days ago or earlier this week about, it was like titled An Apology
Oh, it
to
was
all
so
the
good.
moms
Yeah.
I've trained.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it.
Oh
It was
my
so
gosh.
funny.
Like I trained these moms, for 13 years prior to having a child of my own. And I was, like I felt like my gift was to really empower them and when they came to me, give them all my energy and really try to like feed into them that you can do it. And like if you have this goal, you have this thing you want to do, whether the goal is doing a 5K or a half marathon or a certain fitness goal, or they wanted to like whatever, maybe it was an aesthetic goal, maybe it was like they wanted to just be healthy for their kids, whatever it was. I was like, you can do it. And like, you have to make your workouts and prioritize this and make this like an appointment that you would never miss and do this like you brush your teeth. And then I became a mom myself and I was like, oh my goodness, I am so sorry. Like, it doesn't work like that.
Right.
So it was just, I was well-intentioned, but I didn't realize that instead I needed to be empowering them with ideas of like, okay, here's how you can sneak in a workout in the afternoon, or like, here's how you can give yourself a break and maybe restore, and maybe you need a bath. Like, not like you're dirty, but just like you need to relax. So anyway, you just kind of learn, I think, as life evolves, what different priorities are in different phases.
Classic type 8.
Wait, what?
I don't have a punchline for
Oh,
that.
yeah, I'm like, was I type 8 there?
From
No.
what you were talking about, trying to encourage, and Miranda, please stop me when I just steer this car right off the road. But like empowering other people and taking that positivity and being like, you can find the time, you can do it, giving your energy to others. Wasn't that the Energizer? Isn't that the?
That's
isn't that
the
the
7.
Eight? That's
The
the
7.
7. Excuse me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, which is
You guys, I'm having an Enneagram identity crisis.
No, but it's important to
it's all falling
note
apart.
that sometimes the ones that strike you the most in a way you might not like,
that's your one.
oftentimes the one you should really, really look at before moving on.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, I'm about to do a deep dive. Get really
Deep dive into the number
personal.
7.
I will be in whenever I find out what I am, I will share it with you in the Facebook group. So that everybody can, analyze it. And I'll try to put up the resources for, the website and the app and everything like that. So if you want to read that blog post, if you're a mom and want my apology, it's at jennyandchondo.com. Miranda, where can everybody find you if they're looking for coaching or some guidance for themselves or their companies in terms of Enneagram?
Okay, I'm on Facebook page and Instagram, both at Miranda Kirk Coaching. It's MAR.
I'm glad that you pointed that out.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I have a website as well, and it's just my name, mirandakirk.com, but it's MAR again. So that's where you can find a lot of information.
Awesome. Thank you. You were so good.
Yeah,
Thanks. I'm so grateful that you guys had me on. I loved it.
At Apple Zackintosh on Twitter and Instagram, facebook.com/group/second shot. What's your Enneagram? What's your type? Chime in. We want to hear.
You can find me Matt Stoker1 on Instagram, and I've been loving reading everybody's life hacks from
Yes.
this past
Oh,
week.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
fun.
The
That was
life
fun.
hacks have been fun. You guys, let's do Heath a solid since he skipped out on us today. And I don't know how that thing called work. Well, let's leave a rating and review for the
There you go.
podcast and give him a shout out so when he comes back, he's excited about that. And we will see you in the Facebook page. See you next time, guys.